Hey guys, back to do my video on reffing and judging in MMA, and this is stemmed from a Mauro Ronaldo recently called out Keith Kizer, which is the head of the Nevada State Athletic Commission, on his show, on his radio show, about how there's bad judging in mixed martial arts, and a lot of the things that Keith Kizer said didn't really sit that well with me. How he's like, well, we looked, and this isn't verbatim, but how we looked at the 10-point muscle system, and we looked at all the different avenues, and it's the best way to judge it. Well, there's two things wrong. There's two options right now. One, either you're not looking deep enough at fixing the problem, or you just don't care to switch the judging or whatever, the criteria. Because as intricate a sport as mixed martial arts is, there is no way you can look at that. 10-point muscle system was created for boxing to look at a couple of different criteria. It was punching, okay? Punching. That's what it entails, okay? I'm not going to get into a boxing MMA argument here, but it was created to look at one aspect of what mixed martial arts entails. It's, the boxing aspect of it. And you even have still judges and refs that come from boxing backgrounds. I don't think this is acceptable because you have so many different things going on in mixed martial arts. You have takedowns, sub attempts, and knees, and that you have clinch work, kicks, and all that kind of stuff. Scrambles, which are hard to keep track of. So, I think one of the best things to do, in my opinion, I don't know if it's exactly right, but at least I'm not Keith Kizer and just saying, no, what we have is fine. What we have is fine, no more discussion. At least I'm trying to have an open forum about what, needs to happen. Now, because you look at fights like, you look at Shogun and Machida. Some of those rounds were really close, and those are 10-9 rounds. However, they decided to score it. We won't get into that right now. But then you have rounds like Griffin against Tito 2, where the third round was clearly dominated by Forrest, but yet still 10-9 round. So, I think maybe the answer is to, give half points, so you can score a round, like Griffin Ortiz 2 wasn't necessarily a 10-8 because he really didn't do too much. He didn't hurt him badly, he didn't drop him with anything, and it wasn't dominant. People want to look at 10-8 rounds like, oh, well, he didn't get dominated that badly. Okay, we'll score it 10, 8.5 then. They're not stupid enough that they can't do half-point math, okay? You give them a calculator then, I think half points would, you can score around 10-10, which a lot of judges don't like to do. Score it 10-9.5. That's close. Then you have it's very easy to do. You can score half. The other solution that I had was, if you look at a promotion called Art of War, which is the Chinese, it's a new promotion out of China. And while I don't agree with every aspect of it, let me just read you the criteria, okay? They have 3 categories of judging. It's not, how at UFC you have effective grappling, striking, octagon control, nonsense. 3 categories. Category 1, which would be the most important category, and as you go down, they get least important. Effort to finish the fight by KO or submission. Category 2, damage to your opponent. And 3, ring control. Okay. It not only gives you the term ring control, But it goes on to define what ring control is. Octagon control is not really, it's kind of a just anonymous term that nobody knows how to score. Okay? So you score the round like that, okay? If the fight goes to decision, the judges and the fights are scored as a whole, not round by round. So a judge, they're scoring it round by round, kind of, because they're looking at the different rounds, but they're scoring it the fight as a whole, okay? There's no 10-9, nothing like that. Okay, so if the fight goes 3 rounds, okay, you look at category 1 first. Effort to finish the fight by KO submission. Category 1, effort to finish, described as effort to finish the fight means the focus and concentrated effort to win the fight by KO, TKO, or submission of the opponent. A fighter that is constantly attacking with strikes while on the feet, with takedown attempts, with strikes on the ground, or with submission attempts on the ground is making an effort to finish the fight. A fighter that is holding his opponent either in a standing clinch or on the ground, or constantly retreating or constantly adapts the defensive posture is not making an effort to finish the fight, okay? There you go. Effort to finish the fight. If the fight goes 3 rounds, if one fighter over the other wins that, he wins the fight on that judge's card, okay? You have 3 judges still, okay? If the judge decides that, well, it kind of was close in category 1, fine. Move on to category 2. Category 2 is damage, and this is the one that I don't like for one reason. Damage is subjective because a lot of fighters cut easier and stuff along those lines. But they say damage calculated by the combination of clean strikes, more efficient, and heavy strikes, more effective, okay? While standing or on the ground. The heavier striker who lands with efficiency deserves more credit from the judges than the total number landed, okay? If striking power was equal, then the total number of strikes landed would be used as a criteria. This is why I think the UFC, to be added to this, needs to have the CompuStrike numbers available. I mean, we're in a technological society. We don't need to look on judges' eyes alone. The total number of strikes should be sufficient quantity to determine the winner in this category. When on the ground, strikes from the top position are generally heavier and more effective than strikes from the bottom position. Although this is not always the case, strikes thrown from the top position will generally be considered by judges to be the higher quality. So, okay, if it's a draw in category 1 on one judge's, you move on to category 2. Did one fighter win that? If he won that, then that fighter wins. If not, fine, move on to category 3. Ring control. They define ring control. The fighter who is dictating the pace, place, and position of the fight is displaying ring control. I don't like the wording of this, but I think it can be changed. A striker who fends off a grappler's takedown attempt and remains standing is displaying ring control. A grappler who can take an effective striker to the ground is displaying ring control. The fighter on the ground who creates submissions, mount, or clean striking opportunities is displaying ring control. The fighter on the ground who is passing through his opponent's guard and moving towards moving towards positional dominance, backside mount, is displaying ring control. I don't like the word, because you don't always have a specific striker and a specific grappler. Then you have to pigeonhole somebody in that way. But I would say they would need to change that. Judges do not score each round to determine the winner. They'll get the fight in its entirety. Okay, so you go into, if somebody doesn't win that one, you go to category 3. Category 3, oh man, that was a massive voice crack. You go to category 3, and if somebody wins category 3, then they're the winner, okay? You can judge it different ways. You have 3 judges. 3 judges can score at fighter A. I mean, you have a lot of different variables there. If Everybody, by the time you go through all of those, and you go through, well, did fighter do this? Did fighter do category 2? Did fighter go to category 3? If all 3 judges see all 3 categories and they can't decide, then it deserves to be a draw. Okay? Then it deserves to be a draw. Okay? I think this, the Art of War, they're getting it right. At least they're trying to change the mold of how MMA is scored. Okay? And I think it's a great idea. I think that is a great way of scoring a fight. It goes by the old Pride rules, but it gives you specific judging criteria. And I think that's the way to score a fight. It can be changed, but right now, that is way better than Keith Kizer saying, well, we looked at it and the 10-point must, because the 10-point must isn't the best system. I'm out of time. Stay metal. Later.